Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. You're all welcome in today's Srimad Bhagavatam session, where we are sharing wisdom from Srila Prabhupada's books. Please join us for Jai Radha Madhav prayers. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. You all are welcome in today's session. Please join us for Guru Pranati. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiryet, Shavatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shamana Kirtanaha, Hridayantasto Hyabadrani Vidhunoti Suhasatam, Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavate Ruttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavti Neshtiki. Hare Krishna. So of course Adi Guru is Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And today we are singing the glories of Shravanam and Kirtanam, the first two processes. Even though they appear as first two, they actually are the most potent and they enable us to advance tremendously. Just like when a racer, again, is starting, how good is the launch, that matters. And there is extra force required at the launch than during the running. So again, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17, we will be covering this verse today. Hare Krishna. Please join us for the recitation of this verse. Yes, we already in the invocation covered this verse, but it's also interesting to see what are the elements of this verse and how they reveal amazing wisdom to us. So please join us. Devi, have you shared the link?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm sharing. Go ahead.
Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Verse 17. Shravataṁ svakatha Krishna punya shavana kirtanaha hridayantasto hyabadrani vidhunoti suhasatam. So Sutta Goswami, he is revealing this, that Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, translation by His Divine Grace, S. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Hare Krishna. So please join us for Guru Pranati. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatadaham Vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So again, in our existence, few things even a person who's not a devotee can recognize. When we go to the temple, when we sit in the temple, everyone feels the calm, the pure environment, right? There is such a nice surrounding, the ambience is so wonderful. And why is that? Because the temples are transcendental to this material nature. So they are not in the modes of material nature. Now somebody could say, what are the places in different modes of material nature? Of course, we very well understand through the teachings of Acharyas, through the wisdom that Srila Prabhupada shares in his translation of Bhagavad Gita as it is, in his translation of Srimad Bhagavatam. He covers these amazing secrets, his wisdom. These are coming from Srila Prabhupada's books, where the forests or suburban areas, they are in the mode of goodness. Then comes the city life, the downtowns areas and so forth, where all this rush is going on. People are buying, eating, all kind of arrangements are going on. A lot of theaters are running at the same time. Those are like in the mode of passion, fruitive activities. People want to engage in fruitive efforts and then they want to enjoy the fruits. So that arrangement is done there. And now comes in mode of ignorance, brothels, sometimes you can say the sports bars, basically bars, and all these abominable places which are completely rejected in the human society. They are in the mode of ignorance, where people who have lost all taste are residing and trying to seek enjoyment. But there is no enjoyment, basically. There is only misery. And little comfort they get, they think, oh, this is happiness, but that's not happiness. So even happiness is in 3 different modes. And the transcendental happiness is what you get when you are in the temple. Looking at the Lordships, praying to the Lordship, oh my dear Lord, please give me an opportunity to serve you. And this prayer is very simple. Just repeat with me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, why do devotees feel, why do everyone in the temple environment feels that? Because Lord Shri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he is also, his Chaitya Guru is residing in our heart as Super Soul Paramatma. He is the overseer and permitter. And he is not in just our heart, he is in everyone's heart. And he is our best friend. He is the benefactor especially of the truthful devotee. Now, why is he benefactor of the truthful devotee? Because he is the best friend of everyone. Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. Yet at the same time, a father has equal love for all his children, but for the obedient son, he has special affection. And that is the case of a truthful devotee. And so for this truthful devotee, who may have some tinge of material desires, Lord Krishna himself cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed what? Who has developed curiosity and urge. He is anxious to hear what? His messages. Lord Krishna's messages are in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna's messages are in Srimad Bhagavatam. So a devotee is anxious to hear about Lord's messages, just like an obedient son wants to hear, my dear father, please tell me, how should I serve you? What can I do? And wants to hear about other great sons of the Lord, right, of the Father, right? So devotees want to hear stories about other devotees, examples from other devotees, which is inspiration. It drives inspiration. Sometimes it is very important that you may have the skill, but you want to have that motivation, that inspiration to be better in improving constantly. That's why devotees are sometimes said to be never satisfied. Why? Because they want to serve Lord more and more. And beautiful example is given in the case of gopis. When gopis looked at Lord Shri Krishna, their beauty increased. And when Lord Krishna looked at the gopis, his beauty increased. So there is a constant competition. Devotees always want to be the order supplier of the Lord. So they become this by hearing and chanting. Right? So why do we love to hear Aarti and stories of the Lord? Because it gives nourishment to the soul. It actually fills us fully in our spiritual bliss. And that's the happiness we are looking for. That's the true happiness which is eternal in nature. And that's why devotees eternally want to hear about the Lordship. Hearing the Aarti and stories, we feel so peaceful and happy. And so we see that in the case here, messages of the personality of Godhead, as Srila Prabhupada reveals, Sri Krishna, they are non-different from him. Yes, the message of the Lord and he himself, they are non-different. This is what Srila Prabhupada is writing in the purport. And whenever therefore offenseless hearing and glorification of Lord are undertaken, it is to be understood that Lord Krishna himself, he is personally present there in the form of transcendental sound. Shravanam and Kirtanam should always be done with faith and love. With devotion, these have to be done. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. Now sometimes people have the tendency, they say, I will give everything because I want to become a devotee, I want to be glorified. And they suddenly give all their property. And the next moment what happens? They get cold feet. I just gave out all my property because they did not follow the process. They did not do the Shravanam. They did not do the Kirtanam. They just, in emotion, in seeking to be glorified, they gave up all the property and then they're like, oh, I don't have anything. And then they start blaspheming the devotees. So this is also where the devotees have to be very cautious that when they are receiving something, that the person has come to the level where the person is not going to lament. He has done sufficient Shravanam and Kirtanam. So Lord Krishna within the heart as Chatya Guru inspires one to engage in what? More Shravanam and Kirtanam, and thus cleanses the dust from the heart as revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shishashtaka, he declares clearly that the holy name of the Lord has all the potencies of the Lord and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. So here, Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktirs, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is non-different from Krishna, he is Radha and Krishna combined again to appear and give us this beautiful instruction that Lord has put all his potencies in his name. So the name of Lord Krishna and Lord Krishna himself, they are non-different. Sometimes people say, okay, this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. What is the proof? Is there any proof in the Shastras? Yes. Nama Chinta Mani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinatvam Nama Namino. Lord Krishna's name and is Chintamani. It fulfills all the spiritual desires. And Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, he has put all his potencies in his name. Purna Shuddho, it completely purifies us, cleanses the dust from the heart. And Nitya Mukto, and completely transcends us from this material nature, the modes of material nature. Abhinatvam Nama Namino, the name of the Lord Krishna is not different from Lord Krishna. So here, we also understand that when we are chanting the name, there is no fixture of time. Anybody can chant anywhere at any time. So there is no that you have to be from this varna, that you have to be chanting during the day or not during the night. Any of those rules and regulations which apply to other mantras and even to the ragas, they don't apply to Maha Mantra. Because in spiritual world, there is no concept of time. And every time, every present moment is auspicious to chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So anybody can chant the holy name with attention and reverence at one's convenience. And so the Lord is so kind, He is so merciful that He can be present before us personally in the form of transcendental sound vibration. But unfortunately, we do not have taste for hearing and glorifying the Lord's name and activities. That's why to glorify, we have to hear first. So that hearing is very important. How do conditioned souls or sinful souls get purified? It is through the Shravanam Kirtan process. They hear from a devotee. They sing the glories in line with the devotees, instructions. So this is also very important. And Srila Prabhupada also reveals that we have already discussed developing a taste for hearing chanting of the holy sound. It is done through the medium of service to the pure devotee of the Lord. Now that is the secret. We have to connect to parampara, just like the powerhouse is sending electricity to our home. And a loosely lying bulb will not light up. It has to be connected to the socket, and the socket has to be connected to that power line. So again, then when we turn the switch on, the lamp will connect because it has followed the proper procedure. And so the Lord is reciprocally responding to His devotees, the ones who are connected with Him, who are seeking His mercy. And when He sees that a devotee is completely sincere in getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord, and has thus become eager to hear about Him, most important of the devotional service, the Lord acts from within the devotee, from his heart, in such a way that the devotee may easily go back to Him. Yes. Tesham evanukampatham aham ajnanajam tamahanasyami atma bhavasto jnana dipena bhasvata. So Lord is more eager, more anxious to take us back to His kingdom than we can desire. So sitting in our heart, His anukampa, His causeless mercy, He is giving us the knowledge which is like a shining lamp, driving away all the ignorance, all the anarthas. So most of us do not desire at all to go back home, back to Godhead. We are comfortable here. That's what people are thinking. Eat, sleep and be married. That's the purpose. And during this time where people are celebrating in the Western world Christmas and so many festivities, they are more running into the stores. Oh, this is the time for sales. Let me get the sale. Hare, there is always the sale of the holy name. Engage in the holy name sale. Engage in hearing Bhagavad Gita. Engage in chanting Bhagavad Gita. Engage in distributing Bhagavad Gita. So again, why? Because Bhagavad Gita is non-different from Lord Shri Krishna. That is the essence. But anyone who desires to go back home, back to Godhead, to constantly serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna helps him in all respects. Now, it is not that anybody can enter and go back home, right? There has to be some qualification, full purification of the heart. And Lord is purifying your heart. All you have to do is Shravanam and Kirtanam. That's the only need. That's the only requirement. So one just cannot enter into the kingdom of the God unless one is perfectly clear of all sins. Now, material sins, they are the products of our desires to lord over the material nature. That's the reason we are in this material world. And devotees, they are never satisfied. Why? Because they see, oh, I still have material body. Right? I have to engage this body which I have received as a gift from the Lordship. Actually, we don't even have any qualification that we receive this human form of life. But Lord is so merciful that He grants us this amazing gift, the perfect boat to cross over this ocean of nations. But sometimes people think of these human form of birth, the body that they get, as sport utility, like a sports vehicle. And they go on a pleasure ride while destroying the amazing opportunity, not taking advantage of the amazing opportunity they have. And so they develop such desires which are very difficult to get rid of. And for time immemorial, we have been engaged in this material world which causes us to have deep roots in this material world and the roots are deep, it's very difficult to uproot ourselves, right? But by the mercy of Lord Shri Krishna, through the weapon of detachment and knowledge, we can cut this tree. So, what is the problem? Tendency to avoid hearing and chanting. Solution is to make an effort to hear and chant. Now, why is this? Because everybody wants to speak. Now, this is a very common thing. When we look at the way we are made as a human, we see we have been given 2 ears and they're always open, right? That means we should hear more and more. And we have been given only one mouth, which is naturally closed. Yet at the same time, everyone has the tendency of constantly speaking, and not sufficiently hearing, especially hearing from the devotees. So that is the material disease. We have to cure ourselves from this material disease, and this curing in the beginning feels like a patient who's sick with jaundice, and the hearing is like this sweet candy, hearing and chanting. So the sweet candy for a person who has jaundice pilia is not very relishable because it tastes very bitter. But that is the only solution. The hard candy has to be constantly chewed, and slowly the jaundice will go away. And that is what is the case. If we have no attraction towards hearing, then we have to constantly hear, make an effort to hear and chant, following the instructions of the pure devotees, and automatically this material desire to not hear and chant about the glories of the Lordship will go away. And so the whole process becomes as easy as anything by the divine grace of the Lord. Now, in this material world, Srila Prabhupada says, wealth and women, they are very difficult problems, in the path of spiritual progress. And to become restless in the contact of women and wealth is at all not astonishing. Why? Because every living entity is associating with such things, the opposite sex, from time immemorial. We don't even remember when it started, and it takes time to recover from this foreign nature. It's not our true nature, it's not a natural propensity. Yet at the same time, it will take some time because we have become deep rooted with these thoughts. But if one is engaged in the hearing of the glories of the Lordship, then gradually one realizes one's true position. And by the grace of Lord Shri Krishna, who is sitting in our heart as Paramatma, as Chaitya Guru, as the overseer and permitter, he becomes compassionate towards a devotee who gets sufficient strength to defend himself from the state of disturbances. And gradually all disturbing elements are eliminated from his mind. Now this reminds me of a wonderful pastime where Srila Prabhupada, as he was walking with his lady disciples on a morning walk, as they were going somewhere, and suddenly the lady disciples, they saw that on the other side, this is in the winter season, there are some girls and they are shouting Swami, Swami across the street, and they are also standing to cross the street. And at that time, the lady disciples, they were surprised that these girls in the winter season were wearing really flimsy clothes, not sufficient clothes. While the lady disciples, they were wearing very nicely saris and properly covering themselves with shawls and nice garments. So Srila Prabhupada, he smiled and he pointed that while you have now become purified by hearing the message of the Lordship, I'm paraphrasing, by message of the Lordship and following the instructions, you have become so pure and you are serving Krishna. While look at them as they are still serving Maya, and they are trying every effort to attract opposite sex. But we devotees only have to attract Lord Krishna's attention, and he makes our path easy. Tesham aham samuddhata vityu samsara sagara. So Lord picks up from this material nature, which is material world, vityu samsara sagara, a place of birth and death, and he quickly takes us back home, back to Godhead. So such are the wonderful blessings when we take to hearing and chanting of the holy name. So Shravanam and Kirtanam, this is the purification that one gets from hearing and chanting. Shravatam swa katha Krishna punya Shravana Kirtanaha hridayantasto hya badrani vidunoti suhasatam. So wisdom from Srila Prabhupada's books, where it is revealed by Srila Prabhupada in his transcendental purport that all we have to do is engage in Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Vishnu Smaranam. So just by Shravanam, Kirtanam, we become situated in proper position, our constitutional position as eternal servant of the Lordship, and complete purification happens. Hare Krishna. Kantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhagavad ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnav Vind ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.